started. So, you're on, Rabbi.
Okay, so we're going to give today a special shiur on Lag BaOmer. Now, we have to understand Lag BaOmer is a very interesting day. We know that there's a big Hilulah, a big celebration of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. But on the other hand, we find that there's a lot of tragedies that happen as well around this tekufa, around this time. So we have to understand, is it really a happy day, or really is it part of the Omer, which is really a sad period? Now, let me just read you out a few of my notes that I wrote. I gave a shiur in Gibraltar once a few years ago, and I was just pulling out my notes, and I thought it would be interesting to share this with you. So again, we find that it's the Yortzeit of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. We remember, we celebrate about his great deeds and everything that he's offered us. The Zohar and all the Torah and the Gemara that we find in Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. He's a great tzaddik, and we celebrate that. We also celebrate the fact that 24,000 Talmidim of his stopped dying on this day. Okay, that's based on the Gemara in Yevamos, Daf Samach Beis. On the other hand, we find some terrible things that happened around this tekufa, which we know there are halachas based on this. We're not allowed to cut our hair. We're not allowed to make weddings. We're not allowed to listen to music, and so on and so forth, depending on the minhag, whether you hold before the first part or the second part of the Sefira. And according to the Arizal, one of the greatest Kabbalists who ever lived, you have to make sure not to listen to music or cut your hair for the entire 49 days until Erev Shavuos. So according to Kabbalah, that would mean this whole period is a mourning period. Okay? So where do we have to understand? What is it, a mourning period, or is it a happy time that we can celebrate now? We have to reconcile this. We have another few difficult problems that we have to understand in order to really appreciate this day of Lag BaOmer, who we are. And that is, we find that we all go to this great tzaddik called Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, and we celebrate the fact that today is Yortzeit. But there are a lot of other great tzaddikim that lived as great as Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, other Tanaim, full of them in Tzfat and in Meron, everywhere, great Talmidei Chachamim, but we never find that we celebrate their Yortzeit in this magnitude, to the point where all of Klal Yisrael, we don't say Tachanu today, that we break the Omer by listening to music, Lechvod, the Yortzeit of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. So everything is done. Where do we find this in history that any other tzaddik has this great thing happening for him? Nowhere else. We have to find out what's so special, really, then, of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. And we have to understand that Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai also had a teacher called Rabbi Akiva. Okay, and Rabbi Akiva, which was a greater Kabbalist than Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai in many respects, as we know from the Medrash in different places, that Moshe Rabbeinu, that Kadosh Baruch Hu showed to Moshe Rabbeinu a great person, even greater than him, that knew all the Torah and all the Kabbalistic influences and Ramazim in the Torah, and his name was Rabbi Akiva. So we see how great he was, even that Kadosh Baruch Hu mentioned him to Moshe Rabbeinu. We don't have any Yortzeit for Rabbi Akiva, and dancing and so on and so forth. Again, so why is it so special? Second of all, we find that the Gemara tells us in Yevamos, Samach Beis, that his Talmidim, the 24,000 Talmidim that died, stopped dying. And therefore, it's a time to rejoice. But really, the fact that people stop dying, is that really a cause to rejoice? Why should we rejoice? We should, sigh a sign of relief and say, okay, Baruch Hashem, there's nobody else dying today. But why should we all start getting up and dancing, because 24,000 people, stop dying? And more, it means more people would die. That's not a thing to celebrate, it's a thing to sigh relief and maybe to create a whole day of Tanis and prayer for Hashem. But we have to understand, why is that so exciting? Second of all, okay, we can understand that we have this period of mourning of 24,000 people dying, but there were greater tragedies in the history that we find. For example, the Holocaust. Millions and millions of Jews died. And it's not only the Holocaust, with the Spanish Inquisition that millions of people died, and the Greeks in the times of the Romans, and so on and so forth. Millions of people died, hundreds of thousands of years. But we don't find we proclaim a time of Omer, meaning that no more cutting hair. We don't proclaim any time of mourning for any particular time. You'd think maybe there would be all these types of dates that we'd have. This is for the Spanish Inquisition, therefore 2 weeks of mourning over there, and for the Holocaust mourning. No. So why is it so special with these 24,000 really compared to the millions who died? It's very minute. So it doesn't make sense why we're mourning for only 24,000 and the millions that died in the past, we're not mourning for them. We have to understand that a bit better. Okay. Now, the Gemara tells us in Yevamos as well, another problem is that the reason why they died is because the lo nogu kovod zilase. Okay, that they weren't exactly paying the best attention one to the other. They were giving themselves respect one to the other, and therefore that's why they died. Now we know the halachas in Torah. We don't find anybody die for not giving respect to somebody else. So what does that mean? You die because you don't give respect to your friend? We have to understand, what does that mean exactly? Why did 24,000 people die just because they didn't give respect to their friend? Another very strange things we have to understand. Okay? And there's other questions. So look, therefore, these questions are just to make you think a little bit of this day of Lag BaOmer. And let's go a little bit deeper understanding the tremendous power of this day. Now, so let's go back to the Gemara. The Gemara is the source of all this, the Gemara in Yevamos. And the Gemara says as follows, I'll translate in English. All were in mourning for the great loss of the 24,000 Talmidim of Rabbi Akiva, Rabbi Akiva, I should say. And the entire Jewish world was in desolates until Rabbi Akiva reestablished a new 5 great Talmidim. So that's what the Gemara says. The Gemara says, until he establishes the whole world was b'shemam. Shemam means was desolate. So I think maybe I confused the names a little bit. It's not Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai that lost the Talmidim, it's Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva lost the Talmidim, and after that, he started building it up again. He started with 5 Talmidim, one of them was Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. But before that, the Gemara states that the whole world's b'shemam, means it was desolate. Now, was it really desolate? Weren't other people learning Torah? Wasn't other great Talmid Chachamim around there besides the 24,000 of just Rabbi Akiva? So the Mefarshim, meaning the Pri Chadash, the Chidah, the Ben Ish Chai, basing themselves on the Arizal, give a beautiful answer. Very similar one to the other. Now the Gemara says that the continuation of the authentic pure Torah is based on Chazal's precept that the Torah has to be al manas la'asos. What are the Tanaim, what are the conditions of learning Torah? Is that you should learn Torah al manas la'asos, you should teach and do. Not only just keep for yourself a learning, but you should do it as well, obviously. Because otherwise, the Torah is not going to be authentic. It's only called authentic, lishmo, if it's done al manas la'asos, if you're going to do it. Okay, so that's a very important, crucial condition for the Torah to be passed down. It has to be la'asos. That means that people have to see you not only learning, but also doing the Torah. So it is true that Torah was being learned all around the world. But we have to understand that the Talmidim of Rabbi Akiva, and remember, Rabbi Akiva at that time was the Gadol of his generation, and he was teaching the authentic Torah. The authentic Torah which he had received from his great masters, and his great, from Moshe Rabbeinu, from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Now, once he passed away, and once the Talmidim had passed away, all that tradition that was being passed down from Moshe Rabbeinu to Rabbi Akiva and so on and so forth to his Talmidim were all being lost. The Gemara tells us that if he had changed, that if that changed when the Rabbi Akiva picked all the broken, so what happened was, the Gemara explains to us that once he had lost all his Talmidim, and then he started picking up his pieces again. I mean, he could have just given up and said, that's it, I've trained 24,000 people, and now I can't believe it, everything is gone, all my work, all the Talmidim. He could have just went to a serious depression, but no, he continued onwards. And he picked up 5 great Talmidim, and he continued building up the link. That means reestablishing the pure Torah, which was lost, which was going to be lost. And he continued that chain. Therefore, the Gemara says that Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, being one of these great handpicked Talmidim, was not only great in revealed Torah, but he was a master in the mystical secrets of the Torah. He was one of the only Talmidim that Rabbi Akiva took under his wing and taught him the mystical parts of the Torah, the hidden parts of the Torah. In retrospect, we really can say that the day of Lag BaOmer, which is today, was the Kabbalah of Torah happening all again. That's when Rabbi Akiva turned himself around and started teaching the Torah all over again from scratch, and especially opening up that dimension of the Kabbalah that would have been all lost if he had just given up. Although that there were another 4 Talmidim, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai's portion was to spread reveal the deep secrets of the Torah. This tradition went all the way to the Tanaim, to the Amoraim, the Geonim, the Rishonim, to the Amoraim, until it reached the Ramak, and then it finally reached the hands into the Arizal, which then spread it all around the world. So this is ultimately the true importance and the connection between Lag BaOmer and Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. That without the holy teachings of the Zohar and the deeper meaning of the Torah, we would have forgotten everything. All that mystical teaching. You're right, there was other Torahs there. But what we're celebrating over here is the tradition that continued from Rabbi Akiva to Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, the tradition of the Kabbalah. And that's what makes him unique over all the other Tanaim and all the other Tzaddikim. So we're answering all the other questions. That it's true there were other great Talmidim and Tzaddikim that died. Why don't we celebrate their Hilulas and their Yortzeit? Because it's true, we should really, but we can't afford to start having a Hilula and a Yortzeit and a great parties for everybody. But we've selected the greatest of the Torah of Nista, the Kabbalah tradition that came directly from Moshe Rabbeinu, Rabbi Akiva, and Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai to give us, and that's what we're celebrating. So already I hear you asking, why should that be so important to us? Since in any case we don't understand these higher sublime levels of Torah. You can say that I don't learn Kabbalah, so why do I have to celebrate this? But the truth is that the Zohar itself states that before the coming of the Mashiach, these mystical secrets will be revealed to all in order to usher in the Mashiach themselves. Interesting enough, we do find a tremendous amount of interest in this facet of the Torah, the rebirth of this learning of Kabbalah, and everybody according to their level. Especially in Eretz Yisrael, we find that it's a great spread of this. There was more and more yeshivot coming, more and more kollalim. So therefore, we invite everybody, especially on this sacred day, on the sacred day of the Yortzeit of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, to learn a little bit of Kabbalah on their level. Could be Hasidus, could be anything. But this is a special day of Segula to understand the mystical secrets of the Torah. So I'm wishing everybody a great Lag BaOmer, and and B'ezrat Hashem, Kabbalah Satorah anew, B'ezrat Hashem Shavuos.